All right. Welcome to another session of the Cyber Uncles. And today we have an interesting topic for you to discuss. The topic around today would be, just as the caption mentioned, is AI coming to take your role or your job, right? And I think it's pretty much evolved as a lot of a question that we've encountered, three of us have encountered over the last couple of months or years, where the fear or the panic around the introduction of AI, right? But before we start, um, as usual, we have the three musketeers on the call, Shifi, AD, and G, to discuss and talk about a bit about this topic today. But just to give us a general, a 50,000 feet view of what AI is, right? Uh, AI is that field of computer science, that focus on building systems that can replace activities that typically would require human intervention or human intelligence, right? And conservatively, we would say, it has been uh, in the background for close to more than 2 decades, right? Because I remember um, in my early days in my bachelor's degree that the the lecturers then were trying to introduce us into AI, and it was pretty much like what is this? What are they trying to talk about? So it was very complicated to even learn it at that time. But over the years, especially in the last couple of years, there's been so much advancement in AI, and but there's still a lot more to go. There's still a lot more concerns that needs to be addressed with AI, because ultimately uh it's it's built on human intelligence. It's pretty much what you give it or what you use to train the model that pretty much would also be brought out. So those flaws that are still existed, uh things of privacy, things of bias, right, still existed in even when humans were operating the system. If those are the same models that were used to train the AI, you just amplify those problems more. But pretty much what we are looking at today is the concern about career or concern about job security regarding, is AI coming to take your job or coming to take your role, right? And each of us will have our different perspectives. And I think I'm going to start with mine first, right? If you ask me, is AI coming to take your role, right? The answer would be yes. In not mincing words at all, because if you look at it historically, right, uh, organizations always find ways to be more efficient and more effective, right? Think about it in the early days of automation in the automotive industry, right? There was in the businesses were looking at, okay, how can we make this making of these vehicles more efficient, right? And they introduced automation. Think about it in another way, where talk about the farmers when farming started, in the early years, right? There was a lot of manual labor that was involved in it, and then the businesses strategized and said, okay, well, we need to introduce mechanization, right? And then that took away a lot of jobs as well too. Oh, so over the course of your career, there would be different things that would threaten, let me lack of a better word, threaten, your job security at different points in time, right? AI is pretty much what might be at the forefront today, right? But as a career person, right, there could be different challenges that could mean you lose, your job or your role. There could be a downturn in the economy, right? Um, there could be a reorganization of the organization you are working for. There could be, a different focus for the business that makes the role you're performing redundant. So over the course of your career, right, different things could threaten, your job security or your job role. Uh, Particularly for IT guys, AI is that that thing that seems to be threatening a lot of roles today, because businesses want to find a way to be more efficient, right? And in being more, if being more efficient is that, there is a system or a machine that can do this role more effectively, right? There is that possibility that, that particular role, that function that you do today will be lost to AI, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing, right? Uh, but I will let, Afo and G also chime in on that a bit. What is what is, your personal perspective in terms of is AI coming to take people's job or people's role? I don't know who would go first. AD?
I think G can go first.
Hey, good afternoon, good evening, and good morning, depending on where you're watching us from, the part of the world. Like Shifisai talks about AI, like everybody knows, let's say something, this is like the hot discussion right now. Like everybody talks about AI because like Shifi said, it's more like a lot of companies are looking for ways to reduce human interaction or intervention in so many things. And I'm of the opinion, like, as much as AI is probably going to take some jobs, but at the end of the day, it still requires, some jobs still requires human decision before anything can actually be done. I'm going to give an example, which I've actually had this discussion with them because I had something coming in from somewhere and I had to call, through DHL. And, the package was removed. The package was removed and, part of the stuff that was sent were not there. So, we received the package. And, I went online, tried to get somebody to talk to, and it was just like an AI box. And I kept chatting with the AI, I provided the the tracking number, and the only message I could get was the same thing I will see online if I actually track that package myself. In that concept, I would say maybe a lot of people probably have lost their jobs in this kind of situation, saying, oh, we can actually get the AI to do everything for us. And what I was looking for wasn't about the tracking of that package. I was trying to get more in-depth about what happened, why the package was opened, what was removed. This was not the same thing that was sent, and this is what we're receiving. So I was trying to get something to really, determine at what point was something removed from that package. And the only thing I kept getting from the AI chat box is just this package has been delivered on so date. So in that context, I felt like if people say AI is going to take that kind of jobs, trust me, it's not going to do anything in that part. Another example is, I was just watching a video, which I'm going to share with you guys. And it was just about somebody saying how people have lost their jobs because of the belief by most of these companies saying AI is going to take everything. They believe AI could actually do, the same thing people are doing. As much as everybody knows that this is just like an intelligence information, so many things just to reduce it. It's very fast, so many things that somebody needs to go online, check and everything. This AI thing can actually get it done ASAP. Like you can actually get what you're looking for and get information straight up. But there's still some information that you still need somebody. So from my story, the guy was talking about how people have lost their jobs, and now most companies are now realizing that what we thought the AI was going to do is not actually what the AI is really capable of doing right now. I don't know what the future holds because I know they have the agentic AI, they have, so many AI coming up now, or, maybe we'll still get to that point that's okay. We don't need anybody to be able to do this thing. We just probably, because these are like maybe training of the data or something. So maybe if something happens, they will train the data to be, which is very good, which is going to be very difficult because what happened at the end of the day was custom intercepting the package and they took out some as they believe is contraband. So meaning we will not accept this kind of thing. Tell me how that kind of information would have actually been fed into the AI within a couple of days or something. And it was until I actually spoke to somebody and the person told me, okay, this was what happened, the package was opened, and they found some things they feel shouldn't have actually come into United States, and that is why they actually confiscated those, that part of the package, and the only thing that they felt okay to actually go in was what we saw. So in that context, even if I keep asking AI from now till tomorrow, nobody's gonna say anything. A whole lot of customer service companies that laid people off because they feel, if you can actually get somebody on the line to do something for you, we'll be fine. As long as I can get the AI agent to really get everything done. It's good if it's just like, I'm calling Bank of America just to check my balance. Maybe for whatever reason, I'm not able to check my balance myself. So this can be trained to pull, because they use a lot of IVR automation process, put in your last 4 digits of your social, maybe your PIN or something. Just that alone is something that actually improved, the IVR process, the customer service. I mean, I work in a bank, and I know how much we spend on, IVR. I've dealt with so many projects where the only thing they were doing, I would say one time I had a project, what they were just trying to do is just to see how they can improve the existing capability of the IVR, process in the customer service, where if you just probably put in your PIN, you should be able to, maybe if you put in your PIN or your last 4 digits of your social, you should be able to get your balance, you should be able to get certain information. Remember, in security, we're trying to protect the CIA triad, the confidentiality, integrity, and the availability of those information. In this context, we're not really dealing much with availability when it comes to AI. We're dealing more with the confidentiality of that information. Like, you just don't want, so that means if somebody calls in and nobody's able to verify all of those things, and the AI just give the person my balance or something, that's like, so now we know like a whole lot of things need to come into play where someone will need to determine or validate before a certain information can actually be released to maybe anything. So AI is not going to take anything as much as people claim for now. I don't know. Like I said, I really don't know. Maybe few months, few years down the line, maybe they would actually improve and be able to take a lot. Like Shifi said, we as IT professionals, you can't say, oh, I'm not going to do this. Like I always advise everybody, you just have to understand that when a new technology comes into the market, you have to understand the applicability of that technology into your own field, learn as much as you can learn about it. And that's it. You can't learn it. Yeah, I'm a security expert. I'm not going to be able to learn so much about AI in networking. I can't really learn so much about AI in DevOps or something. I'm just going to learn what I have to learn from my own security standpoint. What is AI? How is AI related to security? What are the security controls we can put in place to prevent some AI attacks and all those things? So in my opinion, and I will say this before I give it to AD to talk, I was talking to somebody and, they were talking about how they're trying to use AI to do some risk assessment, based on what they fed into the AI, engine or AI chatbox or something. And, instead of you manually doing the assessment based on what the business line has actually provided to the security side, the AI is able to come up with it. But at the end of the day, they specifically stated it in their chatbot, AI chatbots, like what my friend told me is they still requires an human intervention before the final decision can be made. So tell me how something like that, if AI is they actually program it to say something like that. So meaning the people that actually programmed it actually knows like there is going to be somebody at the end of the day to review this information and make a pre-informed decision before anything can be done. So I think AI can take some, but not everything. But right now, it's not even taking as much as we think. But most companies want to reduce cost, and they are leveraging on that to say, okay, we just need to put some people out. Let's do this. But at the end of the day, they are calling some people back, offering them a lower pay because people have lost their jobs. They don't have anything they are doing. And they just feel, okay, if I can get something, I have to put food on the table for everybody. So I think AD can go. Maybe you want to oppose or you want to support. Let's see what AD has.
I think I would actually mediate between both. Because
You want to stay in between
yeah,
both,
I'll
right?
be in the middle of both because
Yeah.
looking at the AI bubble now, I can relate it back to the dot-com bubble. When internet came, this was exactly what happened. As much as AI would collapse some roles into one, it's going to create more. So that's why I said I'm going to mediate between, but as it's taking, it's creating another one. So that way, I don't actually see that it's taking, but the only caveat to that is that as professionals, we just need to be able to adapt. And just like what Gia said, like as this bubble, we always have a bubble. I think every 10 years we tend to have this bubble. So well, the ability for us to adapt and actually look at our own niche, our professional niche, how this new technology could actually make us more efficient and makes us job or career or layoff proof kind of thing, where you will be somewhat indispensable in your role. I think that's where that, and that's why I'm just saying I will mediate between both. It will definitely take some roles away, but it's going to actually create some new roles. Again, like the dot-com bubble was that it created new niche roles, but over time, when people adapt, those roles will be oversaturated, and then we'll go into another bubble. You won't need them. Some entry roles will collapse. We have new form of entry roles. So as it's taken away, it's actually creating more. But the only thing as professionals is, for us to be able to adapt to these new tools and see how it helps us in our different niche.
Thanks, AD, for being the mediator, right? Yeah, and it's and thanks G as well. So made some very good points in there. I think the key thing to understand is that AI is it's coming to stay, right? And whether some organizations or some leadership would be under a lot of pressure to sort of show off or show the results of some of the investments that have been made in AI, that you would see a lot of, sometimes you will see automation that is being masqueraded as AI, right? Something that pretty much was pretty much just, you just automated the process, doesn't necessarily mean that it's AI driven, right? So a lot of masquerading that automation of under AI will be happening. So that's also something that's key to understand, right? And again, right, why I feel quite strongly that AI might be taking a lot of roles is that because there's a confluence of different things that is happening at the same time, right? AI is coming in, or is maturing at the time where all the technologies that it requires to be successful is readily available. Let me give an instance. All of this streaming services that are coming online, right? If they had come prior to the invention of cloud services or cloud storage, right? There will have been, in my opinion, it will have been an entire disaster, right? Because rather than focusing on streaming service, which is what the business is known for, there will pretty much be a technology company, because how would you manage that volume of data in terms of the movies and the series that you're having to, preserve, uh, protect its confidentiality, ensuring that only paid people are getting access to it, right? But because of the availability of cloud services, right, the model is already there. The technology to support that operation is already there, and they can pretty much focus on just, how can they perfect this streaming service. The same thing goes for AI. AI is very, requires a lot of high processing systems, right? And for the fact that, cloud has matured, the cloud services has matured, or infrastructure as a service, cloud services in general has matured quite a lot, right? There is a lot more power that can be used to produce this AI learning and AI, processing and AI maturing. So the technology to support the advancement of AI is pretty much ready, right? And over the course of the next decade, right, I would see us, going advancing quite a lot in AI. Not to be selfish and say that I had the last word, right? I'll let G also come in there, um, put in some arguments in there, and then, it will take us from there into the next section, which is, what are the positives that we can actually say around the advancement of AI, right, as it relates to careers. So, G, can you take it from there?
Like you said, and like AD said as well, it's something that will create, like, when you just mentioned about the processing power required for this AI to really work and everything. And I've seen a lot of people, and I've had so many people saying the energy bills in America now keeps going up. And that's probably because of a whole lot of, new companies are coming up, setting up data centers, which I don't know, I claim allegedly, they say. So it's more like most of those power companies are not trying to pass those bills onto other consumers because, so it's going to create jobs for like people in HVAC, data center, all those things is just going to create jobs, like Katie said. And at the same time, it's going to take away some jobs at the same time. But like my argument is just based on some jobs still need people to get them done, no matter how much you try to use the AI to improve the process, because this is more like an intelligent, process. It's very fast. Like I can tell you now, like if I have any assignment, I can just go, just do the AI, just put it there. I can't remember the last time I even thought about Google Scholarly or something. So like if I have something to do now, remember when we were in school, then we were trying to finish our project. It was all about, we go to Google, we have to go to Google Scholar and everything. So imagine people are working behind the scene on those sites, for those processes. So that means now they won't really have anything to do. But still, people that still want to leverage on those, knowledge will probably still go there. So it's more like some people will be laid off because if we're not getting the usual traffic we used to get, so that means we don't really have to keep a lot of people here. So we can actually limit, the people we have. But some people will still have the job and some people will not have the job. But there are some information that needs human to make the final decision. And that is why if you look at the health sector, they are always laid back when they are accepting new technology because they deal with human life. So I'm not gonna say, oh, AI is gonna do this when probably somebody is dying or people are dying. So it all depends on what the kind of job is. Is that something that really need human intervention to carry them out or to make the final decision before something can be done? So AI will take some, and I'm saying it again, AI will not take some. But at the end of the day, like I said, maybe in the nearest future, and everything will be taken away. But for now, this is where we are. So, Eddie, you want to add to that before we move to the next?
Yeah, thanks, G. I think both of you've actually addressed those areas well. One thing I wanted to hammer on was what Shifi said about with AI compared to the dot-com bubble. We currently have some infrastructure that has been built prior to this boom, like the cloud infrastructure. We have the fiber optics, just like the dot-com, they needed fiber optics to speed up the internet. And now we have these portable IT data centers where you don't even have to own several servers in your home for you to actually come up with any solution these days. All you need is a computer and internet, and then you can build as much as you want. And also, most of the companies backing this AI boom, these are companies with large revenue like Microsoft and Nvidia. So it is not a fast like some people might think. It has really come to stay, and it will definitely take away some, but it's creating more. Just like you said, for these new data centers to increase the speed of artificial intelligence, there are special AI data centers that are being built, and this also creates more jobs for the HVAC company, the power company to power these big gigantic infrastructures. And outside those, it's going to create some new roles as well. and it's going to shift some roles. Some titles are going to change. Like there are some roles that the titles are going to change. There will be a little of AI appended to them. So again, I'm the mediator. It has come to stay. It will take someone to create new ones. So.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Thanks, AD, thanks G. I think it's been a very interesting conversation. And I think we're going to go into the second section, which was talking about the positives about the advancement of AI as it relates to careers. And I think some way or shape or form we've already spoken about that. A lot of new roles would come out, right? AI governance, and a lot of roles would just have AI appended to the front of the to their front, right? And then it becomes AI, right? So AI governance, AI security, AI something AI, just like when we started with the crypto, right? If you just wanted to make something sell, right, just put crypto in front of it, and then pretty much it becomes something large. Then so pretty much that's what's going to happen for AI, as well too. And I think Afo just sent, there's also an article on LinkedIn that you can go and check out, right? The job rise in 2026 and 25 fastest growing roles in the US, right? Or globally, it's on LinkedIn. So just do a search on that topic, and you would see that the top 3 jobs, if I'm not mistaken, top 3 to top 4, right? The 4 amongst the top 10, right? Had something to do with
part of the top 5, 3 out
top
of
5.
them are AI.
3 are AI. So pretty much it's not just they're not just blowing hot air right now. It's really something that's it's coming to stay. Okay, so generally, right, what would be the final words in terms of IT people that are trying to improve their career? What are the final words that you'd like to share? AD, let's start with AD.
Yeah, thanks. For me, like I've always said, adaptability is key, especially when you're when you find yourself in IT space. You have to be adaptable. And one of the things that I've learned in my past roles as a consultant, most of my career I've always been a consultant, and you tend to meet clients with different demand, and you're supposed to learn quickly, to adapt quickly, so that you can actually solve their problem. So that in itself has actually helped me personally. So for every other person in that field, you have to be adaptable. Like you have to quickly upskill. The technology space is one of the most evolving space. It's involving. Like if you're not kept, as much as you're adapting, you want to like put time limit to it. Like AI now, if you're going to adapt, you cannot program yourself in the next 2 years you want to adapt. By the end of 2 years, you will have another thing that what you think you've learned will be obsolete. It won't be applicable anymore. So as much as you're adaptable, you have to make sure that you're time conscious, you're time efficient with your upskilling, and making sure that it is still valuable within the confines of the needs of those technology. And also to be able to, to be open to embrace transformation in different fields. And this is generally with life, that it will be transformative in different areas based on demands. And that's the only way you can stay relevant and valuable to people. So yeah, those are some of my final words and advice for anybody that, currently that might be affected with it. As much as it might look like you've been affected, there's a new opportunity in there that you need to adapt to make yourself invaluable.
Yeah. Thanks, Eddie. G?
Yeah, you guys have said it all, because technology evolves every time. And you really can't just say, okay, I think I have to give myself this time to learn this.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I was going through something one time, and I was just seeing AI security architect. AI, just like, and I'm like, we're still trying to get this, and I'm already seeing AI security. So it's just gonna be like I said earlier, you first of all need to learn about this as related to your job. Sometimes we might be interested in switching careers. Maybe I'm a security architect right now. I have to learn how the AI security architecture works, how we can actually set controls, design, security design and controls around the AI use case. Those are the first thing I need to understand. What are the AI attacks? How can we prevent them? So now, like after learning those things, and if I feel like I think I want to go into AI engineer, so that's like me switching career. But now I've not learned what I need to know about my, my field that I'm already thinking of. Because even if I want to switch, it will still take me time to start learning. So learning something about the changes in your particular field. In this context of AI now, you want to learn the applicability of AI in your field, which is what I always suggest before you can now start thinking, I think I want to go to another. So which I would suggest, because I've seen coming some certifications. I know ISACA does one right now, AI security, ISACA advanced AI security or something, which is something like if you feel there's any certification that you can take that is related to your field, as long as AI is in vogue right now, I will gladly suggest you probably want to take it up, get it done. And like, Eddie said, IT evolves every time, and you have to be ready to spend the money. Even if you're not spending the money, you have to be ready to adapt easily and very fast. So trying to upgrade yourself, trying to update your skills in AI, in the reading technology or something I would really recommend. So AI might not take your job, but you have to understand what AI and the applicability of AI in your field. Maybe in future, maybe it's going to take your job. But for now, learn something about your field.
Yeah. Thanks, G. AD, I think AD wants to.
Something to
Yep.
say,
AD, go for it.
Sorry, before Shifi give the final close, I think one thing I wanted to add to it is that with every boom comes noise. And with what we've seen AI, like if you open the internet, you will see a lot of pathways to learn AI to understand there's a lot of noise. And I think for this session, we'll have links to get you started just to understand the basics of the fundamentals of the AI. And then you can now use these fundamentals to understand how you can apply to your own niche and not just be buried with the noise. Because me being a professional as well, I know there's a lot of noise with AI. Like you won't even know how to actually adapt or what to learn. But I think I got my hand on some nice and good materials to give you like some basic fundamental understanding of AI, and I will share that as well with the session.
All right. Thanks a lot, AD. Yeah, just to wrap everything that's been said. I think G won the session, right? He won the argument of yeah. So, but jokes aside, right? The ultimate thing, I think a lot of what you see in that's been coming out from most of all the things I've been saying is that you need to understand how AI is applicable to your role currently today, right? And if you want to position yourself, right, what are the things that you need to learn? Because the way AI would affect networking, right, might be different from the way AI would affect software development, might be different from way AI would affect, data center managers. So, a lot of things that happen in different ways. So, first of all, understand how AI is affecting your role and how you can position yourself. The next thing would be that, you need to I think this is the general advice. You need to be, self-motivated, right? Especially when you're in IT. I think I said at the beginning of the session, right? Something would always, at some point in time, your relevance might be tested. It is AI today, right? It could be it could be organization restructuring tomorrow, right? It could be a downturn of the economy altogether. It could be a change in technology altogether. We had data center managers all this while, right? What if your organization decides to move all of their infrastructure to the cloud? And you're a data center manager, what are you going to do? All right. So you need to be, a self-motivated to learn, to improve, to evolve, right? That's one way I believe, that's one ingredient you need to be very successful in IT. Things are always changing. So be at the always ready to learn, always ready to adapt. Just as AD said, we'll add some links to the video, and then you can be able to check those links out. And I think that brings us to the end. Just before that, I think G would give us a final parting words, and then we'll wrap up the session. G will wrap up the session
Yeah,
for us.
in addition to what Eddie said earlier, I think we talked about this Pluralsight, Eddie.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that Pluralsight is something that is really very helpful, because if you go through the AI something on that Pluralsight, you could see the AI for different field. The one for security, the one for maybe business analysts, the one for engineers or something. I would really suggest that Plural, even if we probably don't share that particular link to the Pluralsight. If anybody has any Pluralsight, if you go through the Pluralsight, then you will see something related to AI. You can try and check that one out, and it's really, it's very, very helpful. The first part is the basis, and subsequently they have like different specializations where they have to go in depth. So if anybody has access to that Pluralsight, that would be a very recommended, link or site to check out.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks for the final words, G, and thanks for taking the time to listen to us again. If there are any topics that you feel you're interested in, you would like us to discuss, please feel free to drop a comment in the section, and we'll see in the comment section, and we'll see how we can accommodate that need. All right. Thanks, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
Thank you.